of our challenge is both with the patronizing of the police chief of the 17-year-old. There was no reason for a 17-year-old to carry a loaded weapon to try to preserve peace in the city of Kenosha. You had city police, you had county police, you had 1,000 National Guard. You had more than enough security in the city to do the job of law enforcement. These individuals are linked. Militias are part of the racism problem. Koinon is a part of the racism problem, and institutional racism. You can go to our website, rainbowpush.org, and retrieve this recording of the sheriff saying we need to build warehouses for these people. He's using this dog and whistle, these people. We are not these people. We are black people, and Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter!
To go to the polls on November 3rd. We have a crisis on our hands. We have a bigot in the White House. We have a bigot in the White House who does not miss any words when it comes to supporting those people who tried to keep my people in slavery. We as African Americans and good people of justice and truth are fighting with African Americans and other brown people to stop those folks from putting us back in chattel slavery, because that is their goal. And let's don't ever forget that. No one here should forget what the purpose is for what's happening in this country. You got a man that wants to take over this country, him and his buddy from Russia, and if we allow that to happen, shame on us. Thank you all for being here.
Miami, setting up, building a school in Ohio to Breonna Taylor he deserves. He's changed the culture of athletes in America today. I want to make this point clear. There's a pattern of killing black people. When Roof killed 9 black people in church in Charleston, South Carolina, police took him to get a hamburger before taking him to jail. He walked away. The killer walked away free. When George Floyd was killed in Minnesota, the killer went home that night. The prosecutor said nothing could happen. The next day when Keith got the case, first time in the history of Minnesota black police have been indicted for killing a black. Breonna Taylor, the killer in Kentucky, still walks free today. The killer of Jacob, sent home, the shooter, walked free today. The fact of the matter is, the prosecutor said in Minnesota they could not find a case against the killer of George Floyd. Keith Ellison, as Attorney General, moved quickly and indicted them. Now they're guilty to be proven innocent because of the horrendous killing. The burden upon the state's attorney in this state, Attorney General, to move and move quickly. We must know that justice works for the people. Second, I want to make this concern that shot in the back 7 times.
7 times.
7.
No, just in front of his children. No justification. When Laquan McDonald was killed in Chicago, covered up the tape. 400 days, 16 shots. The line said he approached him with a knife. I'm sure he shot him in the back. 16. Paid $5 million for cover-up, and it didn't work. So well, Laquan McDonald, Breonna Taylor, Jacob here in Wisconsin, pattern. We demand justice from the country. There's a kind of moral desert at the top. This year, today, 57 years, I was in Washington, D.C. Just left jail in Greensboro, North Carolina, trying to use a public restaurant. The president had a little power, but he had aspirations for justice and decency. Today, there's a moral desert, top down. Acid rain is coming top down. When Dr. King gave a speech in Washington in John Lewis, 1963, Only one black official in the whole South, Leroy Johnson from Atlanta, Georgia. Texas to Florida to Maryland, we couldn't use a single public toilet. Couldn't buy ice cream with Howard Johnson. Couldn't in the room at Holiday Inn. We lived in tyranny. Black and brown, so sat behind Nazi prisoners of war on American military bases. 57 years later, there's something more sinister. Case of Minnesota, Wisconsin, up south. Something's going awry. President Trump said in a speech in Chicago, if you protesters violate them, I'll pay the bill. It's a signal. Lock them up in the paddy wagon, put them in the truck and hurt their heads. It's all right with me.
My name is Kweku Smith, Kweku Smith. I'm a licensed psychologist. Back in February, I was here at Carthage College to talk about trauma and wellness. We wanted to look at it from a proactive standpoint to see what we could do. But what we see all of the time within trauma is three things. For trauma to happen, it has to be an event that's life-perailing, that's life-causing, that causes some type of harm or ill to your life. But then afterwards, there's some type of avoidance of the things that cause that trauma. And then there's intrusions that come upon you. And when we look upon that, what we have to recognize is that what these young children have to deal with is three different types of trauma. It's a historical trauma that every black person, every indigenous person has to deal with in this land. It's the DNA and our cellular DNA, the trauma that our ancestors had that we have every day. Now you put that with the current trauma, with everything that's going on. These young children might not be able to articulate it, but they will show it in their behavior. And later you will demonize them for manifesting that pain because of the trauma that created it. But there's something that we don't talk about, and that's what we call anticipatory trauma. And in anticipatory trauma, that's when every black mom is afraid to let her baby go to school at night, to let her son worry if he's coming home, worried about what's going to happen. See, I'm not just here because I'm a licensed psychologist. I'm not just here because I'm the past team psychologist for the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm also here because I'm a black man. And all of us have had some type of trauma. So when you see every athlete stand up, they're more than athletes. When you see every reverend, when you see every community member, they're not just talking about stuff that they see. We can talk about the plates, the Trayvon Martin, the Tamir Rices, but we're also talking from a personal knowledge. We've all been traumatized, and every time something like this happens, we're all traumatized. And so you want to talk about the riots, the rebellions. I didn't see anybody talking about the Boston Tea Party, the Green Mountain Boys, the Sons of Liberty, when they were trying to get their independence. So whatever they want to do, what you better be hoping for is that they did what the NBA did, and that the violence comes, but it comes in an economic revolution, because that's the true trauma, the income inequality that pervades this whole society. So when you think about what's coming, it could be a physical violence, or the violence can come in a different way, as I said, from an economic withdrawal that allows us to be able to all have that chance of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. If we don't deal with this trauma, it's going to come back and it's going to bite us.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. Next person I'm going to ask to come forward is...
The last 72 hours in my town, in my city, has broke my heart. It has not broke my spirit. I have not been feeling God Sunday night. I've not been feeling God Monday night. But let me tell you when I felt God, when I started seeing these acts of kindness in the midst of chaos. Right here we saw the truth exposed. Protesters didn't run down our town. Demonstrators didn't burn down our town. Looters, rioters, white supremacists, agitators, they're the ones who burned down our town. And that lie that the protesters did it was exposed right here on this ground. The truth cannot be held back. The humanity I saw in the midst of chaos, they brought the man from right over there and they ran him across the street, put him in the vehicle and took him into the hospital. My faith in humanity was challenged and tested. I didn't feel God. God would not let this happen. Monday night, Sunday night, he would not let this happen. But it had to happen. So Tuesday night, you saw the outside agitators come to my town who have no investment in building this town. I'm not scared of a protester. I'm not scared of a demonstrator. They are here to hold us accountable. That does not frighten me. The people are here to destroy my town because they have an agenda that has nothing to do with love, that has nothing to do with building capacity. And I learned that phrase, building capacity, from Reverend Olin Arrington at Second Baptist Church. Ask me where that church is at. Ask me where that church is at. It's in the 10th district. It's 2 blocks away from where the man was shot. You tell me I don't care? I am angry, and you're angry, and I get that. You are frustrated, and I'm frustrated. I get that. The difference is, I'm angry, frustrated, and I still have to be productive. Thank you for your time.
You on one accord. They could have prevented the shooting, and we could have actually set up and combated that whole incident, but we didn't wake up and listen to the city. So at the same time, the police, as they're shooting somebody 7 times, it's 3 officers. As an Army veteran, we have rules of engagement. I have to shout, shove, shoot a warning shot, then I have to shoot the insurgent. So why isn't the police being held accountable to the same thing the military is held to? You, as a police officer, should be held accountable just like a soldier at war. You will lock up a private for shooting someone, but won't lock up a captain for shooting someone in the city that you are supposed to be protecting. I know this Saturday the family's going to have a march, August 29th. They're going to have a march starting. And then next Sunday, with Father's Initiative and Peace in the Street, we're going to have something where we're going to listen to the people. I know you're tired of being talked to. You want to hear your demands, what laws you want to see changed. And we're going to put paper to pen, and then we're going to start petitioning to get those laws actually in place. Because we're tired of talking to you. We want to hear from you. We want you to know that it's action, not acting. So we're going to hold something at Lincoln and actually hear your voice. Feed you and put pen to paper. We all die. The goal is not to live forever, but to create something that will. And if we don't create unity now for this generation, the next generation won't have a chance. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
We're going to start with police reform legislation. We're going to get behind that. We're going to push it. It's going to make a difference in terms of who gets in and out the door of our police department. Followed by mass incarceration. So glad Senator Works mentioned that. It's still a fundamental problem in our community. Economic development next, housing and eviction policies following that, and environmental justice. It is my hope that we will then move to what I believe is an organic movement led by the people of Kenosha. And that is to request listening sessions, learn the stories of everybody affected by this event. Bring those stories to the table of our elected leaders at all levels, city, county, state. Share those stories that can lead to policy changes, program changes, and resource allocation. We're going in a direction now that we don't like to go, but we've been asked to do something.
To go to the polls on November 3rd. We have a crisis on our hands. We have a bigot in the White House. We have a bigot in the White House who does not miss any words when it comes to supporting those people who tried to keep my people in slavery. We as African Americans and good people of justice and truth are fighting with African Americans and other brown people to stop those folks from putting us back in chattel slavery, because that is their goal. And let's don't ever forget that. No one here should forget what the purpose is for what's happening in this country. You got a man that wants to take over this country, him and his buddy from Russia. And if we allow that to happen, shame on us. Thank you all for being here.